in October of 2022, EA Motive had gone out of their way to show the more notable organizations, game journalists, and YouTubers an overview into their works on the remake of the 2008 epic Dead Space. The developers had told them that they would be allowed to record their experiences with the playable demo. In said demo, they were able to play from the first chapter all the way to the end of chapter 3. However, there would be a handicap. All of the guests had been forbidden to release any and all footage taken of the first chapter of the game until told otherwise. In December 2022, IGN had been allowed to show the first 18 minutes of their playthrough, showing the community what they might be in for. And where there was praise, an overwhelming amount of criticism had been showered down upon the development team for the slasher animation, an emerging woke culture, the character models, and for a very odd reason. A certain outcry that the female characters aren't attractive or quote-unquote sexy anymore. In this video, I aim to shed some light on these criticisms and to provide clarity on the truth of the matter, which is something only one YouTuber had spoken up on prior to the reveal. So sit back and relax as I jump into the situation that has captivated the community and that has brought up a flood of toxic waste. The reason the gameplay, character models, and necromorph animations all look the way they do is because the footage had been captured from the event that took place in the first week of October last year. So from this, we can see that the character models, animation, and gameplay elements had still been getting polished over, so things from this reveal may not be as forthcoming as you might have expected. You would have thought more people would be more forthcoming about the truth of the matter, which had surprised me that only Mr. Rofferwaffles had been the only voice of reason from these YouTubers possessing these massive audiences. In his video, he explained that the gameplay from the event in October had been an early build and was still under development, and some areas still required to be polished off. So from this, we can see that the community of prominent YouTubers and creators had been running around like headless chickens, hating over a small misunderstanding. What did I say in my last video? So as an overview, the first chapter that had been from that demo that was still undergoing development, that was from the early build a few months prior to the event. So this isn't the finalized and finished product that we will be playing at the end of January. So with this explanation over and done with, let's take a look at some of the criticisms that I feel are misguided and just shows how petty the community can be when they do not get their way. The characters' faces and models were the most criticized aspects of the game's demo, which is weird that most of the community on YouTube seems to focus on that aspect rather than the mood, setting, location, and gameplay of the horror game. I mean, when I watch stuff like The Human Centipede, Paranormal Activity, The Exorcist, Alien, the Hostel series, and The Thing, I wasn't watching them for the physical attraction I might have with the female characters. I was watching because I love all things horror. It's okay, boys and girls, to be a little bit horny on the internet, but there are other sites, films, and even games that you can jack off to, rather than just plain out Dead Space. On a serious note, I am not looking for another Dead or Alive game here. Starting with Nicole, I have heard creators and prominent YouTubers constantly pulling their quote-unquote facts right out of their own asses. Let's point out that nowhere in all of the Dead Space media does it disclose Nicole's birth date or her age. However, YouTubers decided to say, "Screw the rules, I have money," and plant an age of 39 on her, when there is no logs, mentions, or even any captions that have disclosed this information. In a nutshell, these YouTubers need to solidify why they think her looks are an issue, so they just start making things up, just like Gaming Bolt. Honestly, I think that this trend of not researching and making things up is rather fascinating, as I would rather be right and not proven wrong later down the line due to not researching a certain topic beforehand. Nicole's age, however, has always been up for debate, as she is most likely within her 30s or 40s. She could even be older than Isaac. Who knows, maybe in the remake they will expand on this topic, providing answers to correct this myth. This is where these creators and YouTubers begin making comparisons to either themselves or prominent celebrities. And to that I'd say Nicole in the remake doesn't look that awful. She actually looks like how I would imagine her to be. If we are to be completely honest, one person makes a comparison to Jennifer Aniston from the film Marley and Me, which again is an unfair comparison because the two characters aren't even in the same scenario or situation. Nicole is a senior medical officer that has been traveling for at least 1 month inside of the planet cracker, the USG Ishimura, with the only light being present within the ship are the bulbs in the ceiling or candles. For those who aren't aware of why I bring this up, it is fairly simple. Sunlight is essential to a healthy lifestyle. A lack of sunlight exposure can mean that you can develop an irregular sleep-wake cycle. You will possess a lack of energy throughout your day, which will lead into low productivity. From this, you can also develop depression and other mental illnesses that much quicker than someone who lives in the daytime, or in this case, on a planet or a station that possesses sunlight, not artificial sunlight. You can develop weaker bones, a weaker immune system, gain weight quicker, have high blood pressure, a lack of eyesight, a higher risk of cancer can develop too. However, these issues are just the tip of the iceberg for this story. As soon as they had transported the red marker on board the planet cracker, the red monolith would begin issuing out all of the symptoms that the colonists had to deal with, granting insomnia, which would disrupt all of the personnel's sleeping patterns, which can lead into illnesses, heart problems, a risk of cancer increasing, attention deficiency, and not being able to concentrate on present tasks. The person would easily forget things. Their libido or sex drive can diminish. They can gain weight. A risk of diabetes increases. They become accident prone, and their skin can suffer as well. In one study, a group of people between the ages of 30 and 50 were evaluated based on their sleeping habits and the condition of their skin. The results revealed that those with too little sleep had more fine lines, wrinkles, uneven skin color, and marked looseness of the skin. The poor sleepers were also more dissatisfied with their appearance than their well-rested counterparts. All of this would have been happening to Nicole with the increasing exposure to the marker. Other reasons for her wrinkles can be the stress of her work that can lead to wrinkles and poor blood circulation. It's truly remarkable and at the same time terrifying the effects of stress, poor sleep, and a lack of sunlight can have on a person's anatomy and overall appearance. So when people are comparing their looks or looks to those either of similar age groups or the same age of what Nicole is presumed to be, they are obviously not making a faithful comparison. Hence why in some horror games, films, or even books, the characters can be described to have what society would call imperfections. If we were to compare Nicole from 2008 to 2023, then we can see that the original version of the character looks more like a damsel in distress and not like how she would be portrayed in her own comic. On top of that, Nicole, despite what many have said before, she doesn't look that cute. She looks more creepy, as that had been the intention. The developers hadn't aged Nicole, but rather they were faithful to the effects of the marker and how those certain abilities would affect the human anatomy for the worse prior to their initial transformations. All of these effects are to weaken the resistance to the necromorphs prior to the official outbreak. Another video I had seen attempted to use Dead Space as a prime example of how the industry is becoming political by downgrading the looks of the female characters. It's interesting that someone who is turning 39 says that she doesn't look like Nicole, but when we examine her face we can't compare the two because the YouTuber is wearing a whole tub of foundation while the characters in the Dead Space remake don't have any on their faces. Moving away from the misguided criticism of Nicole, let's move on to Kendra. The model of Kendra has been criticized as not having massive assets and curves, which is hilarious. But let's go through fashion for dummies, shall we? Now, Kendra in the remake is wearing a jacket, something that she had been wearing in the original, but normally when wearing a jacket, the clothing doesn't stick to your sides, allowing you to show off your physique. See, Kendra isn't wearing latex or spandex here. She was wearing normal clothing, which half the time comes with the expectation that when wearing certain types of clothes, they won't match your overall build. So for those crying about her losing her curves, she hasn't lost the curves, she is just wearing a jacket. Now to an even more ridiculous argument, Kendra's boobs are not big enough. Interestingly enough, the opposite had happened to Ellie in Dead Space 3. They gave her a boob job, and people constantly complained about it. You know what the genre is, right? It's not a dead or alive game, it's a horror title. But you know the old saying, an eye for an eye? Well, in this case, a critic for a critic. Here's some constructive criticism for those who are upset that a fictional character has smaller assets in a remake. You need to find a girlfriend or a boyfriend. It's just that simple. Speaking of which, the entire community, save for a few individuals, all have jumped to the conclusion that Kendra is now a lesbian. Which, I'm not going to lie, maybe she is, as her sexuality has yet to be explored. But apparently this is another prime example of woke culture, which the explanation is more rational than the argument being made. See, Kendra and Isaac are talking about Nicole, Isaac's girlfriend. So when Isaac is saying that they have been so far apart from each other, and that it is hard not to say the wrong thing at any given moment in time, Kendra says that she would rather listen to her girlfriend than Hammond's procedures or whatever. A little bit of banter, if you will. Now, for those that have yet to have that type of conversation with a real person, Kendra isn't making a statement here on her sexuality or her preferences. She is making an observation, stating that Isaac should be more inclined to listen to his girlfriend, saying it in his perspective, rather than saying that she possesses a girlfriend. On a personal level, I have been friends with women that have said the exact same thing to me, even though they weren't gay, but they were straight. But on the other hand, maybe Kendra is bi, as she will say in chapter 12 that she was starting to like Isaac even though that he is insane. So for all the boys that were worried that a fictional character might not be straight, you have nothing to worry about. You can still fantasize a life on the Bahamas with your doting wife Kendra. Ugh. I feel like I need to take a shower now. For those that will say that the intro to Dead Space was better in the original version, I honestly think that is okay on a personal level, but on a factual basis, let's look at the conversation in the original.
Isaac, it's me. I wish I could talk to you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about everything. I wish I could just talk to someone. It's all falling apart here. I can't believe what's happening. It's strange. Such a little thing.
How many times you watched that thing? Guess you really miss her. Don't worry, we're almost there. You'll be able to look her up once we're on board. Sounds like you do have a lot of catching up to do.
All right, everyone, we're here. Sinking our orbit now.
All this trouble over that chunk of rock.
Deep space mining is a lucrative business, Miss Daniels. Aegis 7 is a gold mine according to prospectors' reports. Cobalt, silicon, osmium. Now, where is she? There she is. We have visual contact.
So that's Ishimura.
The
Impressive.
USG Ishimura. Biggest planet cracker in her class. And it looks like they already popped the cork.
Why is it all dark? I don't see any running lights.
Corporal, take us in closer and hail them. And stay clear of that debris field. We're here to fix their ship, not the other way around.
USG Ishimura, this is the emergency maintenance team of the USG Kellion responding to your distress call. Come in, Ishimura.
You're gonna need to boost the signal if it powers
Yes,
low.
we know. Boost the signal. More.
Never heard of a total communications blackout on one of these things. You'd think with 1,000 people on board, someone would pick up the phone.
What is that?
It's a busted array like we thought. Sounds like they're having problems with their encoder. You get us down there and Isaac and I can fix it. 48 hours max.
All right, you heard the lady. Take us in. Let's see what needs fixing.
Gravity tethers engaged. Automatic docking procedures a go.
What the hell?
Sir, the auto dock.
What is it?
We're off track. We're gonna hit the hull.
Hit the blast shields! That guidance tether's damaged. Switch to manual, now!
Inside the magnetic field? Are you insane? Abort!
No! We can make it inside! Corporal, gave you an order.
Field's too strong.
Is everyone okay?
What? What the hell were you thinking? Were you trying to get us killed?
I just saved our asses, Miss Daniels. If we had aborted at that speed and distance, we'd have smashed right into the side of the Ishimura. Now settle down, let's get to work. Corporal, report.
I wish I could talk to you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about everything. I just wish I could talk to someone. It's all falling apart here. I can't believe what's happening. Strange. Such a little thing.
That's her? Nicole?
Yeah. First deferred from her in weeks.
We're 5 minutes out. You still got that thing on repeat? Guess you really miss her.
Fishermer is not a job you turn down, but 6 months apart with only vid calls? It's rough. Easy to say the wrong thing.
I don't blame you. I'd listen to my girlfriend over Hammond reciting security protocols.
Forewarned is forearmed, Miss Daniels.
So you keep saying.
Here we go. Nice clean re-entry. Welcome to Aegis 7.
Imagine 6 months staring at that chunk of rock.
To an independent miner, that's paradise. Aegis 7 is one of the richest finds in CEC history. Some prospecting teams set up for life. Now where is she?
There. Confirming visual contact with USG Ishimura.
What a beauty. Biggest planet cracker in her class, you know. And it looks like they already popped the cork.
Why is it so dark? We should be able to see her running lights.
Yeah. I'll get us into hailing range. Someone's got to be waiting up for us.
Just be careful on the approach. I'm not taking any chances with the CEC's pride and joy.
No chances, huh? Is that why you were digging into my personnel files before we left?
You track your file access?
I'm a computer analyst. Comes with the job.
I ran standard CEC background checks, Miss Daniels. If you want to work in the big leagues, you have to play ball.
Sir, we're in hailing range. USG Ishimura, this is the emergency maintenance team of the USG Kelly responding to your distress call. Come in, Ishimura. Ishimura, do you copy? Come in. This is the USG Kelly.
You ever hear of a full communications black? I don't know what these things.
No. Come on. Someone pick up the damn phone.
What the hell is that?
Sounds like their communication array is busted. Maybe a broken encoder. Daniels and I can handle it in 48 hours, max.
Hey, that gives you plenty of time to catch up with Nicole.
Yeah, I hope so.
Jen, Johnston, take us in.
Gravity tethers engaged. Automated docking is go.
We're losing control.
Guidance system override isn't responding.
Shit, we're coming in too hot. It's gonna smack us into the hull. Aim for that emergency stabilizer. There, the blue light. It might slow us down. Drop the flash shield. Brace yourself.
Everyone okay?
I'm good.
I'll live. Hey, Johnston, you alright?
It's my ankle. Might be broken.
Shit, but better than a broken neck. Or worse. Good call on the stabilizer, Isaac.
Gotta always read the manual.
What the fuck's going on with flight control? That guidance system's a death trap.
Better add it to your repair list. Jen, what's our damage?
Comps are down. We lost a port booster. We got a fire in one of the stabilizers and... Singularity core's a mess. Could be worse, but not by much.
Then let's get some help. Johnston, stay with the Kellyan. We'll send a medic. Everyone else, with me.
The conversation in the original is, well, it's kind of clunky and awkward, with Kendra talking to Isaac like he is going to answer back to her, or is telepathically like he is Professor X. The tension between Hammond and Kendra can be spotted very easily, and the team doesn't seem to be working in harmony with each other, like a normal team of responders would be, working off of each other's strengths, instead of Kendra always talking to Hammond like they once dated, and broke up in a very bad way. She is acting very stuck up, and the voice acting leaves something to be desired. Basically, back in 2008, if a line is to be said, then it most likely serves a purpose, which can be seen here, with most of the dialogue setting up the introduction to the USG Ishimura, Aegis 7, and the CEC, giving the player all of the relevant information very quickly. However, I always found the introduction to be very boring, as there isn't a great team dynamic here. They are always butting heads in the introduction, and it's only after Chapter 4 do they start to work as a team instead of tugging on Isaac. In the remake, however, they are much more in tune with each other, to a certain extent, working with each other, using their teammates' strengths rather than pulling them down all the time. The atmosphere of the team dynamic is great, which is how I would imagine the team to be working if they were to be a part of an emergency response team. They would work together instead of bickering with each other. The scenery looks better than the original, mainly because the space around the Ishimura always looked a bit too bright for a darker game. The introduction should set the mood for the rest of the experience, introducing players into the dark and gritty world of Dead Space. I never felt like the original was pulling me into a dark story, but the remake makes the space around the cluster look so much more entertaining. I'm not saying that the original was bad, I'm saying that from a looks and sounds perspective, the remake does look and sound better, which is to be expected. Hey, remember in the Halo TV show where main characters had their ethnicities swapped with other races? Well, it seems these days all you have to do to be considered as woke is to change the ethnicities of posters so that all of these people on the posters aren't just one race. Seriously, didn't anyone else think that was a little bit weird that everyone in those posters were just white? No diversity in the background lore in the first game? You know, other than Dr. Skyrello. Seriously though, you are going to have to do a lot better than a couple of posters and a single extra being replaced to convince me that this is woke culture at its finest. I will give the community this though. Isaac doesn't look like he is in his 40s, rather his early 30s. Although I can't really say I didn't see this hate for the sake of hate not coming this way, as it is EA after all. It's almost like Electronic Arts had built a super weapon called the Hate Magnet. Doesn't matter what they do, always get hate. They could donate 50% of their profits to charities across the country and they would still get a massive hate boner from the community. However, here is the thing. The 2008 version of the game isn't getting replaced. You can still play it on Steam, Origin, Xbox, and PlayStation, along with the Extraction game on the Wii. Let's think about it this way. The remakes are basically just another version of the game and the story, and at least EA isn't making the same mistake as Blizzard did with their remake of Warcraft 3 that was released as a remaster only. The mistake here was that they had shut down the original version of the game and you had to play the remastered version that is still unplayable to this day. So let's at least be thankful for that. Thank you for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, then please hit the like button. Comment what you thought about this video down below and I look forward to hearing from you. Sign up to join the British Alliance today by hitting the subscribe button and ringing in the notification bell to receive all updates from the channel. Special thanks to all of the Alliance Elite members. Your support helps me to create more content for others to enjoy. If you would like to be a part of the Alliance's elite members, then hit that join button and select the tier that sounds right for you. And I will see all of you among the cosmos, and be sure to have a good one.